Hi guys, how's it going? This is Justin. Welcome to basically this weekly update that I've been doing. We're talking today about December, a little bit about January. But first, I want to start you off with something new that I've been working on. This is April 10th, 2011. Um, Radar composite. So I've overlaid the radar with reports, and then the report circles, I call them report dots, have also, if they're a tornado, I've added the F scale, and then I've also added the tornado track. But anyways, I'm working on a project, and I'm hoping that I can use this for that. So I'm really excited about that. It looks pretty sweet, and I also do this on a loop. So you'll see what I'm up to here. But I also put this in a landscape format. So a lot of the maps that I create since the beginning have been in a more of a square, like one by one. But now I've recently for this project I've done to an HD format. What is it, 1920 pixels by 1080. Anyway, more of a modern look. But yeah, also one thing to note. Moving that around, hopefully not too much. The logo there has changed a little bit, so more to come. All right, let's go to this. I want to talk about. Well, let's start with the 7-day forecast, the temperature. Now we've on the last update I mentioned that December is looking like it's going to be warmer than average for Wisconsin, and that remains true. The 7-day line graph here for the temperature showing that pretty clearly above average for the most part. Okay, maybe there's a day that's a little bit closer. I mean, maybe a little bit cooler with a chance of snow or something. But overall, yeah, that's above average. Especially look at the lows here, right here, 27. The average low in Wisconsin Rapids tends to be closer to 20 or 15 degrees, and then even dipping. But it looks like by the time we get to was that December 7th or 5th or whatever, this Saturday or Sunday, on average, the temperature kind of takes a dip there, so you tend to see it go down, but yeah, staying up there in the 40s, the upper 30s for highs. That's warmer than average. So what is the pattern, upper level pattern driving this? Here's the 500 millibar height anomaly. You're seeing that in the days 2 through 6, so that would roughly correlate to the time period ending on December 9th, which is next Wednesday or next Tuesday. Ridging here. Okay, this is at upper level, so the jet stream tends to go up and over with a little bit of a trough here in the east, just a little one, but it's enough to create a low pressure system, one or two that come up the east coast, also known as a nor'easter. Here in Wisconsin, not so much. We kind of have the Vort Min here, or basically the high pressure that moves into this region, typically in that part of the long wave pattern there. So here's where you get the lows, here's where you get the lows, and here's where you get the high pressure systems, kind of like that. That's just the way that things work here at the jet stream level. Taking it to let's this is the 9 day, this is December 9th, the 2 to 6 day period, and then this is the 6 to 10 day period ending December 13th, which is not this Sunday but next Sunday. It's kind of the same pattern. I'm gonna go back and forth and show you. Not too much change there here in early December. Now, what is the temperature anomaly? This is so for the European ensembles. I was only able to get the 850 millibar, which is a few thousand feet in the air, but it kind of tells the same story for temperature wise. Now, here's Wisconsin. For that 6 to 10 day period ending December 13th, warmer than average, if not way above average here in this region for December, for early December. So that's really consistent with what we've been expecting. Well, this we'll talk about that in a little bit here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. For the December forecast, this is hard to see, I know, but um, we're just looking here at different things. Okay, that's not working. That link is wrong. But this is the December temperature forecast, above average for Wisconsin. Okay, you know that. Okay. Last time we kind of touched on this, I want to touch on it again. We got this warm blob of sea surface temperature water here. This is the latest graphic from. I'm not sure this is from NOAA. Yeah, NOAA Coral Reef Watch. La Nina here. This is still somewhat of a weak negative PDO because you got this horseshoe of colder temperatures in here. But this warmth here, we'll be watching them. Maybe it has something to do with this pattern Okay, I'm not saying it does totally. It's 100% responsible. I'm just saying maybe these two things are related. Okay. Going to the PNA now, you would expect to see somewhat positive trending with this type of pattern, right? Because you have the ridging up in here, more a tendency towards ridging there, which would tend to correspond with a positive PNA, which you're seeing right there currently. Now it's interesting to see that it does kind of go down towards a more neutral or even a negative on this forecast. I'm not totally convinced that will happen. I'm not sold on this, but the GFS kind of picks up on that a little bit, but yeah. So for what it's worth, this is what it looks like positive right now, currently, and for the next few days. So let's take a look at the latest GFS forecast, 12Z model run from December 3rd, which is today. Going to start with tonight. This is precipitation and all various things. You're very familiar with this, I'm sure. We're taking it into this weekend. You're seeing a low pressure system blow up into a nor'easter on the GFS here and then head off down that way, I believe. Again, I'm kind of looking at this. This is sort of somewhat new to me too, but I kind of have the background knowledge of knowing where the pattern's been and what these models have been showing up to this point. But yes, there's the low pressure system. Yeah, I mean, a decent nor'easter. Yeah, I'm sure they get a lot bigger than that, but yeah, I mean, so typically when you have that nor'easter pattern off on the East Coast, you don't get so much going on here in the Great Lakes. Okay, this tends to be it tends to be somewhat calm or even cool at times. Depends on the time of year. Right now it's above average, but we've explained that pattern, why that is. Yeah, and as we go through time, not too much change. There's really nothing going on here in Wisconsin, right? You have the typical seasonal variation of temperature, right? Sometimes it's a little bit, typically you saw the average temperatures. It's supposed to be in that 30 to 40 degree range. And yeah, I mean, you have warmer days and colder days. Okay. Nothing too out of the ordinary. On the GFS, now we're getting way out into the forecast period. This is at 198 hours, which would be next Friday, showing a system coming in. So, hey, there's something possibly to look forward to. Again, it's hard to say this will happen. I even doubt it because this is kind of like going along the path of some of the similar storms I've seen already in this pattern. And again, this goes way into this craziness. I've seen it do a lot of different things. I've seen it blow up a major snowstorm. I've seen it have nothing, and I've seen it have this. Okay, so this is a whole thing going on here. So there's really nothing. It depends on which model you're looking at, but there's really nothing going on here, in my opinion, just yet. Okay, we'll see. Okay, maybe there will be. All right, so we've talked about December. We looked at the pattern a little bit there. Now, what is January looking like? I'm hoping that there's somewhat of a transition more into a traditional winter, a colder winter, and there usually is. This seems to be somewhat of an average winter we're heading into right now. Again, La Ninas to me, I've always remembered them as being, especially the last 10 years, I remember La Nina winters being somewhat backloaded, okay? Not so much cold and snow at the beginning, but more so at the end, February, March timeframe. Again, not all are the same, but tending to be that way, based on my opinion. And yeah, here's the CFS, 500 millibar geopotential height. This to me doesn't say much. Okay, this is not interesting to me really. So I went to take a look at the precipitation, and again, I guess it would make sense, right? If you have a little bit more ridging here, maybe somewhat of a more high pressure going on, you have more of this going on. If you can get a pattern that's somewhat like this at the higher levels, okay, then you would have more potential for precipitation across this region. Not necessarily more snow or rain. I'm not saying either or. I'm just saying potential for both more, I guess. And to me, this is not a major signal, but it is a wetter than average signal for January. So, okay, let's wrap this back up again. I'm saying precipitation chances would be somewhat normal, maybe even a little bit above normal in January based on the pattern that I just mentioned here. But again, not too much to read from that. As far as temperature goes for January, it's showing a little bit warmer, right? Because that would make sense if you have more of a high pressure ridging here. Probably going to tend to be more warm because you got that flow coming up like this. Again, that can set the stage in here in Wisconsin. That sets the stage for a stormy pattern because as the Arctic starts to unleash its air masses here, where that battleground most often sets up would be interesting, and I would hope that it would be somewhere in here. That'd be ideal. and that's where you're getting this. I believe it's just my 2 cents worth on that. My forecast for January is somewhat normal, though. Still, I mean, again, I'm not going to get too carried away. My forecast here is based off of the teleconnections, the global weather patterns, what those signals are, QBO, La Nina situation. So that's all I got for you today. I wish there was more storms in the forecast, but if nothing else, you may not hear from me for another 7 days, or hopefully something pops up that's worth talking about. But kind of going the way we thought it would here in December. Perhaps January is a little bit more of a traditional snowier or colder setup, more normal. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.